Let me ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. If someone followed you around for the last 6 months, watched every decision you made, every habit you kept, every hour you spent, would they see someone building a life or someone burning time? Here's the truth most people refuse to face. 6 months ago, you had a version of yourself that made promises, set intentions, maybe even wrote down goals. And today, right now, you're either living proof that those promises meant something, or you're sitting in the same spot with the same problems, wondering what happened. 6 months, that's all it takes to completely transform who you are. Not a decade, not a year, not even a full calendar year. Just 6 months of deliberate, focused, intentional action. But here's what's interesting. Most people are going to let the next 6 months happen to them. They're going to drift, react, survive, and 6 months from now they're going to look back and wonder where the time went. You're not most people, because you're here. And what I'm going to share with you today, these principles, these keys, they are the exact blueprint for turning the next 180 days into the most transformative period of your entire life. The case for 6 months. Why 6 months? Because a day is too short to see change. A week gives you a taste but not a result. A month shows you momentum but not transformation. A year is so far away that your brain can't feel the urgency. You'll start next month. You'll begin after the holidays. You'll wait until the conditions are right. 6 months hits differently. It's close enough that you can feel it. The end of 6 months is real. It's visible. Your brain can wrap itself around 180 days in a way it simply cannot with 365. And it's long enough that the decisions you make today will compound into something extraordinary by the time you get there. Here's what compound really means. It doesn't just apply to money. Compound applies to habits, to skills, to character, to relationships. Every good decision you make today doesn't just give you 1 day of progress. It gives you that day, plus the momentum that day creates, plus the identity shift that momentum builds. 1 degree, that's all. If a plane flying from New York to London is off by just 1 degree at takeoff, by the time it crosses the Atlantic, it lands somewhere completely different. Not close, completely different. Your life works the same way. 1 degree of change in your daily habits over 6 months lands you in an entirely different destination. The question is, are you willing to change your angle? The clarity principle. Here is the first key to your 6-month transformation. And I want you to really hear this. Clarity is the beginning of everything. Not motivation, not discipline, not willpower. Clarity. Because here's what I've discovered after years of studying human potential and personal achievement. The number one reason people fail to change is not laziness. It's not weakness. It is the simple fact that they don't know, with crystal precision, exactly what they want. Ask most people what they want and they'll say something like, I want to be happy. I want to be successful. I want a better life. That's not a goal, that's a wish. And the universe does not respond to wishes. It responds to decisions. So tonight, I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you to describe your life 6 months from now with the precision of a surgeon. Not, I want to earn more money. Write this, I will be earning X amount per month by November through Y specific action. Not, I want to get healthy. Write this, I will weigh X pounds, exercise 5 times per week, and have eliminated X habit by this specific date. See the difference? Vague intentions produce vague outcomes. Sharp, specific, written goals create a mental target that your brain immediately begins working toward, even while you sleep. The moment you write a goal down with full specificity, something shifts in your psychology. Your brain begins filtering the world through the lens of that goal. Suddenly you notice opportunities you were blind to before. You see pathways that were always there but invisible to an unfocused mind. Clarity is not a personality trait, it's a practice. And your 6-month transformation begins the moment you get completely, brutally, specifically clear about where you're going. The philosophy shift. Now here's something that most motivational content will never tell you. You can have all the techniques in the world, all the planners, all the apps, all the morning routines. But if your underlying philosophy about life hasn't changed, nothing will stick. Your philosophy is the operating system underneath your behavior. And most people are running an outdated operating system, one they inherited from their environment. from people who were themselves running someone else's program, from a society that rewards appearing successful more than actually becoming it. Here's what the philosophy of a transformed person sounds like. They don't ask, what can I get from today? They ask, what can I become through today? They don't think, why is this happening to me? They think, what is this teaching me? They don't believe that circumstances create people. They believe that people create circumstances. Now, I want to be careful here because this is not about blind positivity. This is not about pretending problems don't exist. This is about something far more powerful than positivity. It's about responsibility. When you take full responsibility for your life, something remarkable happens. You stop waiting. You stop blaming. You stop explaining. You start building. The wind blows the same for everyone. What determines where you land is not the wind, it's how you've set your sail. Over the next 6 months, your first task, before any habit, before any plan, before any productivity system, is to audit your philosophy. What do you actually believe about yourself, about your potential, about what's possible? Because your beliefs are the ceiling of your achievement. And some of you have been living your whole life beneath a ceiling that was never real. The association audit. Let me tell you something that will make some of you uncomfortable. The 5 people you spend the most time with right now, they are shaping your future, not just influencing it, shaping it, actively, daily. Think about the people closest to you. When you share a new idea, do they expand it or deflate it? When you talk about a dream, do they ask, how can we make this happen? Or do they say, be realistic? When you push towards something better, do they push alongside you or pull you back to comfortable? This is not about cutting people off without compassion. This is about being ruthlessly honest about what each relationship is doing to your trajectory. Over the next 6 months, your association strategy matters more than your productivity strategy, because the right people will inspire better habits without you even trying, and the wrong people will erode your best habits without you even noticing. There are 2 types of people in your life right now: those who add energy and those who drain it, those who see your potential and those who are threatened by it, those who are going somewhere and those who have made peace with standing still. You are allowed to love people and still limit your time with them. You are allowed to be kind to someone and still choose not to build your future alongside them. Your circle is your curriculum. Choose it with the same intention you choose a university, because the people around you are teaching you something every single day, whether you realize it or not. Over the next 6 months, actively seek out one person who is where you want to be. One person further down the road. Study how they think, how they speak, how they approach problems, what they read, how they spend Sundays. You don't need 100 mentors. You need one North Star. Find it. The discipline of daily documentation. Here is a practice that changed everything for me, and I believe it will change everything for you. Start keeping a journal, not a diary, a journal. The difference is this: a diary records what happened. A journal extracts the lesson from what happened. Every evening, just 5 minutes, write down 3 things. What did I do today that moved me closer to my 6-month goal? What did I do today that moved me away from it? And what will I do differently tomorrow? That's it. 3 questions, 5 minutes. Now let me show you why this is more powerful than it sounds. At the end of 6 months, you will have 180 entries. You will be holding in your hands a document of your own transformation. You will see, with absolute clarity, the exact decisions that created your progress, and the exact moments where you chose comfort over growth. Most people go through life without ever examining it. They're too busy living it to study it, and because they never study it, they repeat the same mistakes with different scenery. The journal makes you the scientist of your own life, and when you're both the scientist and the subject, you improve at a rate that surprises even yourself. One more thing. Writing activates a different part of your brain than thinking or speaking. When you write your goals, your reflections, your insights, you are literally encoding them into your neural architecture in a way that thought alone cannot achieve. Your journal is not a habit, it's a weapon. Use it. The investment identity. Here's a question I want you to sit with. How much did you invest in your own development last year? Not just money, although money matters too. How much time? How many books, how many hours of learning versus how many hours of entertainment? Now here's what's interesting. Most people will spend money without hesitation on things that depreciate. A dinner that's forgotten by morning. Clothes that go out of style. subscriptions to shows they half watch, but suggest spending that same amount on a book that could literally alter the direction of their life. And suddenly they need to think about it. This is backwards. And it's one of the quietest reasons why most people stay exactly where they are. Formal education will earn you a living. Self-education will build you a life. Over the next 6 months, I want you to adopt a new identity. Not the identity of someone who consumes content. The identity of someone who invests in knowledge. Read 10 pages of a great book every day. Just 10 pages. In 6 months, that's over 1,800 pages. That's 6 to 8 books of pure concentrated wisdom from people who spent decades learning what they're sharing with you. Do you think your thinking would be different after absorbing 6 books by people who have achieved what you want to achieve? Of course it would. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is a gap in thinking. Not in luck, not in talent, in thinking. Close the thinking gap with relentless, intentional self-investment, the standard elevation. Your life right now is a perfect reflection of your current standards. Not your potential, not your talent, not your dreams, your standards. Your income reflects what you've decided is an acceptable income. Your health reflects what you've decided is acceptable health. Your relationships reflect what you've decided is acceptable treatment. This is not a judgment, it's a diagnosis, because it means the moment you raise your standards, your life must rise to meet them. Here's how standards work in practice. Right now you have an invisible threshold in every area of life, a level below which you simply will not fall. You won't let your bank account go below a certain number before you panic. You won't let your weight get to a certain point before you start exercising. You won't let a relationship get to a certain state before you address it. Those thresholds, those are your standards. The transformation question is not, how do I achieve more? The transformation question is, where are my standards currently set? And are those standards worthy of the life I want? Over the next 6 months, I want you to deliberately raise the floor in every area of your life. Raise what you'll accept in your work. Raise what you'll accept in your health. Raise what you'll accept in your daily routine. Raise what you'll accept from yourself. And here's what happens when you raise the floor. The ceiling automatically rises with it. You don't aim for the ceiling. You raise the floor, and the ceiling takes care of itself. The ritual architecture, you are not the product of your goals. You are the product of your daily rituals. Goals tell you where you want to go. Rituals actually get you there. And here's why rituals beat willpower every single time. Willpower is a resource. It depletes. By 4 p.m., most people have spent their willpower budget on 100 small decisions throughout the day. And when the evening comes and it's time to do the work, there's nothing left. Rituals require no willpower because they're automatic. They're not decisions. They're just what you do. So here's your assignment for the first week of your 6-month plan. Design your morning ritual. Not a complicated 2-hour production. Start with 30 minutes. 10 minutes of movement. Anything that raises your heart rate and signals to your body that today is an active day. 10 minutes of reading from a book that makes you think bigger, not just feel better. 10 minutes of writing, your goals, your intentions, one insight from yesterday. That's it. 30 minutes every morning, done before the world gets access to your attention. In 6 months, that's 90 hours of intentional personal development, 90 hours of movement, reading, and reflection, before your day even officially begins. And the compounding doesn't stop at 90 hours. Because who you become through those 90 hours changes every decision you make for the rest of each day. The morning doesn't just set your mood, it sets your identity for the day. Own the morning, and you own the direction of your life. The two-path close. Let me paint 2 pictures for you. Picture 1. It is 6 months from today. You decided, back on this day, that the principles I shared with you were interesting but not urgent. You told yourself you'd start soon, maybe next week, maybe after things settled down. And things never quite settled down, did they? So 6 months passed, and you arrived at that future date in roughly the same place, same routines, same income, same unfulfilled potential. And the worst part, not the circumstances, the story you'll tell yourself about why it happened, the justifications, the excuses that sound so reasonable they almost feel true. Picture 2, same 6 months, but you made a different choice on this day. You got clear on what you wanted. You wrote it down. You audited your philosophy and replaced what was broken. You looked honestly at who was around you and made some difficult but necessary choices. You opened a journal. You invested in your mind. You raised your standards. You built your morning ritual and protected it like your future depended on it, because it does. 6 months pass, and when you arrive at that future date, you are not the same person who started. Your thinking is sharper. Your habits are stronger. Your confidence is not borrowed from circumstances. It's built from evidence. Evidence that you said you would do something, and then you actually did it. Both pictures represent the same 6 months. The same time will pass either way. The only variable, the only thing that changes which picture becomes your reality, is the decision you make right now. Not tomorrow morning. Not at the start of next month. Right now. Because the people who change their lives don't wait for the perfect conditions. They change their conditions by refusing to wait. 6 months from now, you will arrive somewhere. That is guaranteed. Time moves whether you direct it or not. The question is not whether the 6 months will pass. They will. The question is, who will you be when they do? Will you be someone who finally closed the gap between who you are and who you know you're capable of being? Or will you be someone with more evidence that change is difficult, and more reasons why you personally are the exception? You are not the exception. You are not uniquely blocked. You are not waiting for the right moment that hasn't come yet. You are someone who has been choosing comfort over growth. And the beautiful thing about a choice is that it can be made differently, today, right now, in this moment. Here is what I want you to do the moment this ends. Before you open another video, before you check another notification, before the day swallows your intention, write down one specific goal for the next 6 months. One, clear, measurable, specific. Then write down one action you can take today. Not this week, today. That's how transformation begins. Not with a grand gesture, not with a perfect plan, with one clear decision, followed by one immediate action. The next 6 months of your life are going to happen regardless. The only question you need to answer right now is this: are you going to design them, or let them happen to you? The decision is yours. The time is now. And the person you're capable of becoming is already waiting on the other side of 6 months of intentional action. Don't make them wait any longer.